appreciate, first of all, I appreciate you guys showing up. I know we had a hiccup, not a hiccup, but last week we were not live last week. And so we skipped the week, so that kind of throws people off. But man, put this in your calendars, put this in your agenda. We always talk about time blocking. We always talk about being respectful for your own time. And we also talk about investing in yourself. And like this right here, this is no money out of pocket investment in yourself. You just show up, participate, add into it, make value of it, and grow your business, right? So we want to see you guys, ultimately become massively successful. And the real only way to do that is to really show up, right? You show up, and then what are you going to do when you show up? You're going to take notes, you're going to educate yourself, you're going to study, and then of course you're going to take action in every single thing that you do, because all this education, all this stuff, everything we're doing is absolutely useless if we don't actually put it to work, right? If we don't actually take what we learned and then go apply it into our businesses. So I would like to, because we got some veterans in the room that have been with us, like Roger, Jeff, Cedric, you guys have been with us several times. I would love to see if you guys can participate just one thing over the last several weeks. I don't even know what week this is. I think this is like week 10, by the way, right? Over the last several weeks, what is like one thing you could say that you pulled away from this? And we'll just say one thing, because I don't want to these are the top 10 things I'm implementing, but the one thing that you're currently implementing that you find is beneficial to you. Roger, if you want to start, man, I appreciate you.
Being consistent in the names.
Nice.
Website, awesome. Google, and all that.
That's awesome. Awesome. Cedric, one thing you pulled away. You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now I do.
I would just be being organized, having a game plan, getting back to the basics of everything. When you talked about going over like the basic things that you have to do every day, just being organized, having that binder, knowing your why was huge for me. Why we do this, keep that on the front of your mind. That was huge for me, just knowing your why.
Awesome, man. I appreciate that. Those are some of the big things that we tap into, right? Because, look, being understanding why you do it, and then being organized about the way you do it, and then actually doing it, they're all super important pieces of the puzzle, right? And so, look, business is not rocket science, right? And what we do as a business, it just really isn't rocket science. There's significant no rocket science to this, all right? I don't even know what's the word to it. It's not the hardest business in the world, but people make it more difficult than it really is, right? And the reason that they make it more difficult than they really is because they start off already wrong. So we've had these conversations about accidental realtors, right? Or accidental business people or accidental salespeople, where they just kind of trip and fall on a deal because they're just face forward, running forward, leaning forward, right? They've got their arms wide open and they're willing to catch whatever's thrown their way. So they're doing a deal 5 minutes down the street, they're doing a deal 3 hours away, they're doing a deal 45 minutes away. They don't even know how to split themselves up accordingly. They don't know how to generate the business. They don't know how to consistently create the business for themselves in a manner in which they can attend to it on a consistent service status, right? And so we're all in the service industry, baby. This is it right here. We're here to serve the community. We're here to serve our clients, right? But we're here to do it as entrepreneurs, CEOs, entrepreneurs, whatever it is that you are, because I know a couple of you guys might be salaried employees, right? And so, this dream of entrepreneurship and, being able to set my own schedule and stuff like that, I laugh at that a lot, because there are a lot of entrepreneurs that are doing really well inside of a company and helping that company grow from within. And they're at a 9 to 5 and they're killing it and they make really good money. And guess what? That entrepreneur has significantly more time than any of us entrepreneurs. Okay. So I'm gonna put that out there for you. All right. So every time I hear somebody say, one of my biggest attractions to becoming a real estate agent is that I get to set my own schedule. And I was like, yeah, you can, anywhere from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. You're allowed to get your own your schedule yourself. Outside of that, it's gonna be a fucking shit show. Okay. So we're rolling into this. My goal with you guys is to limit the shit show, right? How do we get people to understand that we are professionals, This is what we do for a living. We are very good at what we do. We invest in ourselves appropriately so that we can be good at what we do. And then we respect ourselves enough to set our schedules, our times, and do the work appropriately, right? And so today we're going to talk a little bit about, well, not a little bit, we're going to get into scalability as a business, as a team, as an agent, whatever your goal is. And I'm going to start with the single agent, the new agent, the direction they should go, the things they should do. And then we're going to bump it up all the way up to what you would consider to be a mega team with a staff and everything else, right? And the reason I want to talk about it in that manner, and I'll even talk a little bit about expansion teams, where, you know, so most of you know, I've got teams in other cities and other states, right? And these are legitimate teams, not just people I'm associated with or referral partners. These guys are legitimately on my team, right? And so I want to show you guys how to utilize that team structure and also build and develop on leverage, right? On leverage. This is how we get to the point where we get to say, I'm going on vacation. Things are in order. Everybody's reading the SOP. Everybody understands our operating procedures, and we're good. We get to move forward. We get to push it out. All right. So before we get started on that, you know how I like to start everything. It is a freedom day. A couple of you have already written it in the chat box. If you have not, and you're new to this and new this week, it is an absolute requirement that you go to the chat box and you type it in. It is a freedom day. It's a freedom day. I want to see you guys type that in there for me. Please get in there. It's a freedom day, baby. And why do we always type this in? Because we need to start this training with the understanding that we are developing a business to create freedom for ourselves. I want you guys to find your freedom, whatever that is, through our coaching. Okay, so it's definitely a freedom day. I appreciate you guys. Now, let's get into this. If I'm a single agent, right? My name is David Kurz. I'll just put DK. If I'm a single agent, can you guys see that okay? Or should I bring my iPad in and share my iPad screen and make it easier for y'all?
That's good. We can see
It's
it.
good for you guys? Because I'm
Okay.
having a hard time seeing it. So I just want to make sure. All right. Let me pin myself real quick. Boom. All right. If I'm a single agent new to the business, first of all, we've talked a lot about what you should be doing in your business and how you should be advancing your business. You guys participate with me. What should this new agent in real estate be doing on a daily basis in order to develop real estate business?
Making calls.
Right. So calls, we could say lead gen, right? Okay. What else should they be doing?
Contacting their SOI.
Right. SOI. What else?
Networking.
Marketing themselves on social media.
Yes. Networking. And we'll say marketing. And that could be social media, could be ads, could be anything they can afford to do as a new agent, because we got to think about cost analysis as well, right? And we talked about having a return on investment and having the money to invest and understanding ROIs, right? So now, what else can they be doing?
Get out in the community and meet people.
Right, so community development. Right, what about personal investment, education, new agent, right?
Yeah, education for sure.
All right. Develop the brain, right? Develop systems, right? They should be working on developing some sort of systems, right? To get themselves successful. Where do you think they learn how to do all of this? What should they find? A mentor, right? That could be
somebody like a David.
They should find a mentor. I appreciate that, by the way. They should find a mentor. And why is that so important? And listen, by the way, mentor could come in the form of somebody they follow on YouTube. It could come in the form of joining a really great brokerage with awesome training. It could come in the form of finding a team leader in the local area and saying, I'm going to bite the bullet and give up a portion of my commission so that I could be a part of this team and learn everything I need to learn in order to succeed in this business, which personally, I believe that in today's day and age, because the word entrepreneur is so damn sexy, people forget that we're supposed to mentor under somebody. We actually got to learn this thing, right? Like, doctors don't go to college and come out with a medical license and a degree and just automatically open a practice. They are forced to be under somebody for a period of time, right? Lawyers come out of law school. What do? They go join a law firm as a junior attorney, like the boot in the space, right? When I joined the Marine Corps, I didn't go in as a sergeant major, right? I went in as a private, and I had to learn the methods and get advanced little by little into positions of leadership and advancement and understanding. This is where our industry in particular hiccups the most. And the reason they hiccup the most here is because it's so easy to get your real estate license, and no one is telling them to go find the right mentor. Right? And then you've got people out there that have been in the industry for a whopping 6 weeks, and they figured 2 things out, and they believe they are the mentor. And that's the scary part, right? And so it's up to us to consistently educate ourselves and then give back to the community. But that's just like a rant off the understanding that for someone, a new agent, our agent here, DK, in order for them to be successful in all of these things, they should potentially find a mentor. Now, I'll give you guys my opinion. My opinion is that every new agent in the industry, unless you come from a situation in which you know the business is going to come massively easy for you, should join a team. And they shouldn't just join any team. They should interview teams, and they should find a team that is going to provide them with the most value and education and direction possible. Even if that means that I have to pick up the team leader's laundry every Friday and drop it off at his house because I'm the rookie in the room. Even if that means I got to pick up his kids from school on Thursday because he's got a meeting. Because you know what that means? That means I'm paying my dues forward, right? I'm paying my dues forward. Think about, back in the day when swords were the weapon of choice, right? No one just woke up one day and said, you know what? I'm going to make swords. They studied under a master swordsmith for decades sometimes before they can create their own masterpieces, right? And so I'm a big believer that if you're a brand new agent, you should be looking at a team. And not only should you be looking at a team, but you should be looking at a team that can educate you, teach you, and provide you with the assistance that you need to grow. Notice I never said leads. Yes, most teams provide leads. It's not really what you're looking for. You're looking for someone who can teach you how to fish, not for someone to put the fish in front of you, right? And so that is the biggest piece of advice that I give to new agents. Now, let's say I'm a new agent, I'm on a team, I educate myself, I move from the team, and I say to the team leader, I want to thank you for all the help that you've given me. I've been with you for X amount of years, and I'm ready to fly on my own, and I'm going to try this thing on my own, right? Now, if I'm a single agent, and I'll ask you guys, who do you think my first hire is?
TC.
TC. Now, I'm glad someone, who said that?
Roger.
Roger, appreciate that. I'm glad you said this because most people immediately go to admin, right? And so a TC will alleviate a tremendous amount of business from you, and you pay them a flat fee, and you only pay them if the deal closes. This right here is going to give you the leverage that you need to create more business, right? So if I look at real estate as a pie, and this is my sale right here, I'm going to say that this much right here is actual sales and lead generation. The rest of this is administrative work, follow-up paperwork, addendums, attending inspections, appraisals, following up with lenders, following up with title, checking the timeline, all that stuff, right? So if you can find someone to alleviate, let's say, this much, all the paperwork, Well, then now you have that TC in place and they alleviate this. This actually takes this part right here, which is the sales and lead gen, and it expands it into here. And what do you think that does for your business? It helps your business grow, right? The theory and the study says that with the right admin, which is your next hire, with the right admin, and I'm going to say this like a couple of times, with the right admin, not cousin Joey because he said he wanted to join your team and you made him the admin, right? But the right admin joins your team, study says your business should grow by 100%. You should be able to double your business. And the reason for that is because if you have a TC in place, and you have an admin in place, well, then you've just opened the rest of this up. And there'll be a little sliver right here. And this little sliver will be, you know, attending some of the inspections and things of that nature that is just forced part of the business, right? That your admin and your TC are not going to go do for you, right? And so now you take all of this and all of this becomes lead generation and sales. Lead management, lead generation, and sales. Now here's the crazy part. Most people are going to say, okay. And by the way, let me play on this method a little bit. My first hire is a TC. My second hire is an admin. At that point, it's very possible that my admin can not only handle my paperwork, but also handle the TC work. So I might be able to get rid of the contract TC and have my admin handle it internally. What ends up happening is over time, the admin will get too busy because you'll be doing too much business, lessons, right? And the admin will then have a full-time TC that you will hire under them. And because they understand transaction coordination as an administrator, they can monitor what the TC is doing, not you. Do you see how I'm building leverage here, guys? Right? They can track the TC. What do you think the goal of that admin is to be, right? At some point, the goal of this admin is to be your office manager. That's a goal, right? So now I'm a single agent and I have an admin and a TC. Now, most people will say you need more leverage. What do you think the first piece of leverage I'm going to get outside of staff is going to be?
Buyer's agent.
Buyer's agent. Now we're gonna hopefully have some astounding information here.
David, is there a difference between a showing agent and a buyer's agent to you?
There is. And so a showing agent doesn't do any of the work getting all the way up to actually showing properties. All they do is show properties, right? So some people I've seen pay showing agents $30 a door, $40 a door, right? Go show these 3 properties, I'll pay you $40 a door, right? Some showing agents come on board and they earn 20% of the deal, right? Depends on what you're trying to advance them to become. A buyer's agent's job is to take the buyer, cultivate the lead, turn it into a client, client into contract, contract into closing, and rinse and repeat. That's their job. Your job at this point is to continue to bring buyers to the table. And the reason that your first person that you get is a buyer's agent, right, and not a showing assistant, is because you are trying to create massive leverage for yourself. So if I bring on a buyer's agent, I get to load all of my buyers on this buyer agent. And now I've opened myself up for more time to attract more listings to the table and be able to focus on my staff and the work that they're doing and be focused on creating relationships and doing the things necessary in order for me to grow the business more, right? And so at some point, this buyer's agent will actually be too busy and you might have to get that buyer's agent a showing assistant. You see how I went backwards with it? And that's cool because that buyer's agent will earn a split off the deal and the showing assistant might take some of the load. And then eventually you'll have another buyer's agent and another buyer's agent, right? On the listing side, it's backwards. And this is the way I coach guys. You might have heard it somewhere else different. That's okay. But on the listing side, it's backwards. I don't hire a listing agent when I'm ready for a listing agent. I hire a listing assistant, right? And with my listing assistant, it is my job to get the listing, my job to shock and awe at the listing presentation, my job to handle the marketing, right? It is my listing assistant's job to prepare the home, to put the lockbox, to get the sign up, right? It's their job to show the home, monitor the appointments, schedule with the seller. It's their job to be there for inspection, for appraisal, so forth and so on. They don't have to do any of the paperwork, by the way, and God willing, if I did things right, I don't have to either because my admin and TC got me covered, right? And so depending on how you structure your business, I'll just tell you how we structure ours. My buyer's agents are at 50% splits with the team. My showing assistants are at 20% splits with the team. My listing assistants on 30% splits with the team because they do a little bit more. They really do, right? They don't just open doors. They go out to the house a lot more, right? And then if I had a listing agent, they would be at 50% with the team. Does that make sense to y'all? Right? Now, as these continue to grow, they will continue to get busy. When they get to continue to be busy, you will find yourself with other administrative positions. What I want to tell you guys is that the biggest hiccup that most business people make or most salespeople make is they don't have enough staff to support their business. So because they don't have enough staff to support their business, guess who the staff person is? The team leader, right? Like here I am, I got 5 buyer's agents and 5 listing agents, and I got leads coming in galore. Every time some paperwork or some hiccup or something's happening, guess who's there to save the day? Me. So I become the team admin, like the super admin, right? And that's not what we're trying to do. So what I want to say to you guys is don't be afraid to hire staff to leverage yourself. And we'll talk about something else that happens in the human mind when you have more time, but don't be afraid to hire staff to leverage yourself. Don't be afraid to now make your administrator the office manager and bring on a junior admin. Don't be afraid to have somebody that is a listing administrator if you have a ton of listings, right? What does a listing admin do, David? They order the photos, they put up the MLS, they get the marketing together, right? Don't be afraid to hire a marketing director, or a marketing manager, or a marketing assistant. What do they do? Well, if you're pulling a lot of listings, why are you paying a photographer when you can hire one in-house? Not only will they do photography, but they'll also follow you around everywhere you go. They'll create massive videos for you. They do headshots for your team, right? They do intro videos for your team members when they come on board. If your team member wants to do some social media stuff, they do that too. They set up green screens, they have equipment. You know, that's what your marketing assistant does. And if you hire the right one and they get in connection with what your brand is and what you've developed, my God, this person by themselves could take your business to the next level. They have control of your social media and things of that nature, right? And when I say social media, I mean your business social media. They're creating tiles and marketing material for the entire team and sending it to the team and saying, here's our new listing, promote it. Here's our new sale, promote it. We just had a closing, promote it, right? Oh, but that wasn't my closing. So what? It's a team closing, promote it. Let them know you're part of a moving team consistently. Have 5, 10, 15, 20 agents posting the same just closed, right? So somebody asked, when do you hire a listing agent and how much do you pay them? So I mentioned that if I have a listing agent, I give them, they're at 50-50 splits with me. Sometimes my buyer's agents will graduate to 60% depending on their capabilities, right? But listing agents are always at 50-50 because there's definitely more cost to putting a listing up front, right? And then somebody said, how much do you pay the marketing assistant? That really depends. Every market's very different. I live in Miami, so everything here is expensive, right? So the salary for my marketing person might be very different than the salary for someone in Ohio, right? But what I will say is you can get a good marketing assistant on board for about 30 a year to 40 a year, if and only if you allow them the opportunity to freelance on the side a little bit, right? So that's going to be the bait and carrot, right? Hey, listen, I'm going to pay you 30 a year. I need you to be with me this amount of time, and I need these products and these things and these positions accomplished. However, if you want to go do a photo shoot for John Smith at that company, by all means, please go make that extra money on your own time. Schedule it accordingly, right? So you allow them the opportunity to freelance out, right? What you're going to find is they will freelance every once in a while, but if you're doing this right, they're just having so much fun with you anyway, because the right marketing assistant or director just loves it. They love marketing. They're the behind the camera, in front of the computer, super creative, just having fun with this, right? So when you find the right person, that's gonna be massively beneficial to you guys. Okay. Now,
David, I got a question.
Sure.
That I think it's important to kind of piggyback on this
Okay.
graph that you're putting out. Do you have a standard of some sort of like how many transactions you've closed as a leader before you even look at hiring any of these roles? Because I feel a lot of agents, they go into that, hey, I closed 5 deals this month. I need a buyer's agent and an admin as well as a marketing director, and they don't.
No, you don't. So I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm going to start by saying this. It's very different for different people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say I could handle 10 deals, no problem, no help at one time. Some people can't. Some people, their limit is 6. Some people could do 15 to 18, right? So everybody's going to be a little bit different. But what I will tell you, and what Joe just said, don't have 5 deals and feel so overwhelmed that you feel like you need a marketing director, an admin, and a TC and a buyer's agent all at the same time because you're trying to immediately offload. Unless you can tell me that you did those 5 consistently for 3-4 months in a row, and you know it's going to happen for the next 90 days, there's no need. You're good with the TC, right? You pay them per file. Now, what I like to tell people is when the TC cost comes out to be about equivalent to what it would cost me to have an admin, I start looking at switching out to the admin, right? So if my TC cost me $3.99 a file, that's $400 a file. And I'm sending them 10 files a month. Let's call it 5 files a month. That's $2,000 right there. Well, shoot, that'll get me a virtual assistant. 10 files a month is $4,000 to the TC. That's an in-house assistant, right? So mathematically, look at the numbers and understand what your return on investment is. Because once you bring that admin in, you're going to spend 60 days with them, which means you need to have enough money to pay the admin and the TC, right? Because you need to train that admin and they need to track what the TC is doing for the next 60 days. And then you could get rid of the TC and you can transition to the admin. That's going to be another 30 days or so. So you're going to have leftover things. They can be paying that TC off until they're done. And then you can bring that admin in. And admins, by the way, could earn anything from, shoot, I've seen it 25, 30, all the way up to 60, 70, just depending on what their position and roles are within the company, right? Within the team. Okay. And then once your admin offloads a ton of stuff off of you, and you find that working with 10, 15 clients is not that difficult if you don't have to do any of the back office stuff, really just, it isn't, right? Then you might want to consider looking at potentially bringing on a buyer's agent so you can offload some of that opportunity into that buyer's agent and put them to work. Now, that also leads me to what happens to the human mind when we have more time, right? So if you're growing a business and you hire an admin and they're massively effective, right? And shit, I've seen agents hire an admin and they don't even know if they're effective yet, and they've already taken off to the beach. Okay. If you hire an admin and they're massively effective and they're very amazing at what they do, right? And they're great at what they do, well, you take the time that you were able to buy yourself back, and you go back to creating more business for yourself. That's the leverage. Now, I will say this. There are going to be two types of people that hit this point. There's a person that says, David, I just don't freaking need more business, right? 5 deals a month, 6 deals a month. That gives me a salary or an income of $200,000-$300,000 a year, David. I do not, and I paid my admin, 50. So if I make 250 and I paid my admin 50, well, I'm netting 200. If that's your goal, so be it. Go to the beach, hang out with your kids, go to the baseball game, go hit the cheerleading event this weekend, right? Go do that stuff because that's what's important to you. Me, I'm an animal, right? I see something get to a level and I'm like, okay, what's the next step? Okay, what's the next step? Okay, what's the next step, right? And so I joke with my wife all the time. I go, I'm retiring soon. I'm putting in the work now so that when I am tired, I can chill. And she looks at me and laughs. She goes, there's no way you'll never chill. You'll never chill. And that's not everybody though. Some people are looking for the chill, right? And so whatever your mindset is, the human mind will automatically say, DK, you have more time. Let's go to the beach on Tuesday morning, right? Let's go to brunch on Thursday afternoon. Let's go have drinks early today. It's Thursday, it's ladies' night in Miami. Let's go have drinks at like 3 p.m. versus catching up with them at 7 p.m., right? And burning off half of your day. That's what tends to happen to the human mind. So at that time, when you hit that point in your career, I want you to take a step back and I want you to understand what it is that you are attempting to do and what your goals are. We talked about goals and development and business development very early on, and we're going to keep repeating this stuff as we continue to move forward because we get new members that join on every single week, right? And so I want to take you guys to the next level. What time we got? 11:38. All right. I want to make sure, again, super respectful for your time. Now, I've built my team, and I'm going to show you how I've done it. I've built my team very much like a military platoon. That's how I handle my team. You guys know I'm a Marine, right? So my brain is Marine Corps all the way. And I had an epiphany one day, right? So I read all these team books and, $1 million listing and, $1 million mindset and freaking, the Red Bible from KW and, et cetera, et cetera. I've read all these books and they all have very similar patterns on how to develop a team and what the steps are. And I think that has changed over time. And I think that many of those books have been updated over time as well, because there are other opportunities like virtual assistants and Zoom and things like that may not have been available when the book was written 20 years ago, right? And so the opportunity for you to be able to afford an assistant $1,600 a month, full-time, virtual, it's magic. You know what I mean? It's like a quarter of a closing, right? And so if you're doing, 3 closings a month, that might be a great move for you to have a virtual assistant, right? So what we found is that the one thing that's never changed in my epiphany moment was that a platoon, a well-developed and well-trained platoon, is always effective. Always effective. They may not always win, but the way that they are formed is always effective. The Romans knew it, and everyone after that knew it, right? And so the way that we built our team is we have our team leader set here. So I'm going to build out this platoon for you so you can see how we built it out, right? Now, next to our team leader, I'm going to put a box here for staff. My team currently has 3 staff members. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my staff and let them fly solo here because they are next to me in the platoon and they are not a part of the action moving below me. The action moving below me transfers out like this. Here we have what we consider to be an area. And in most places it would be like, this is the battalion. These are my platoons: Miami, Orlando, Tampa, Northern Virginia, or Nova, right? Those are my actual teams. Within those teams in Miami, we have squad leaders. In Orlando and Tampa, they share the same squad leader just based on staff. Why? Because we don't have enough agents there to split it up yet. But when we do, we'll be able to split that up in each area. We'll have a squad leader. In Virginia, we actually have 2 squad leaders. And what do we do with our squad leaders? With our agents on the team, we assign to our squad leaders a maximum of 4 to 5 people to each squad leader. What do you think the benefits of building out my team is in this fashion?
I would say like the chain of command, your leverage, you're talking to your key players.
Right.
And they're talking to their key players.
That's freaking awesome. And so I want to point this out to you guys. In the military, when the lance corporal or the corporal or the sergeant have an issue, they don't just roll up in the general's office and say, hey, I got a problem I need to talk to you about. Just don't. Doesn't happen. Why? Because there's a chain of command. Because if everybody did that, that general will do nothing but put out fires all day long. And that is what you're trying to avoid as a team leader. You're trying to give people, first of all, give people a place of ownership within the team. The people that have worked for it, the people that have proven themselves, the people that know that you know are adaptable to the leadership positions. Give them a place of leadership within your team and give them ownership in that team, in their heart. That's number one. Number two, when that happens, they just pass that energy down to the squad lead. So if this agent, Agent John Smith, has a question, he reaches out to Yenli Velez. And if Yenli Velez can help him, well, it ends there. If Yenli Velez cannot help him, she knows which direction to go. Does she go to the staff or does she come to the leadership, the team leader, right? And so what you're doing is creating multiple buffers for yourself to be able to once again do what? Continue to grow this business. You can start developing this from the early onset that we created earlier on. When you're that single agent, you bring on your first buyer's agent. Now you have 2 buyer's agents. Now you have 3 buyer's agents. And one of those buyer's agents is really a badass, and you find that they're in the position that they're always helping out the other buyer's agents. Well, that's your future squad leader right there. And it's something that you should always be looking out for when you're developing a team. Who is going to be the future me? Because what do you think I'm building this big organization for? So I could work till I'm 80,000 years old and, you know, and sitting there and still running this team? Or do you think that one day, maybe one of these squad leaders will step up and become this one day? Why not? You're an independent contractor. You run your own business. And why can't you move from tier leader to chairman? Why is that so unheard of? You know why? Because very few people accomplish this. Very few people do it, and most people don't even have a roadmap to get there. So the method that I give you guys very early on, starting out with the people that you started out with, this becomes an integral part of your business, because without them, you can't operate all this. Without my 3 people, none of this worked. None of this worked, because I'd be drinking from a fire hose every day, and I wouldn't be here with you because I wouldn't have the time to dedicate to this. It just would not exist. Not with this person with a deal, that person pending, this one's got a new listing coming up, this one's got 2 new listings, this one under contract 3 times last weekend. This one's a brand new agent, doesn't know how to use the MLS. This one doesn't know, can't get into their dot loop. This one is having trouble getting into their CRM. This one's having trouble. You understand what I'm saying here? So as it continues to grow, you're going to realize that you need buffers in place, people to help you, right? And if you've done a very good job over time, please, for the love of God, don't try to create this in the next 60 days. If you have developed these squad leaders over time, and you've educated them, and you've taught them, and you've invested time and energy and love and support into them, and you have poured 100% of yourself into them, they will become exactly what they want to be in your light, because you poured into them. They know what you gave them. So if you've given them enormous amounts of opportunity to be amazing leaders, these people are going to be amazing leaders for you. And it happens over time. And yes, you're going to have hiccups, because this squad leader one day is going to come to you and go, you know, just kind of feel like I could do this on my own, and I think I'm going to leave. And then you lose this person. This person's gone. Now you got to replace them, right? Should we be upset? No. They left because we did a good job. We helped them grow. We helped them become what they wanted to be. And when they leave and they say, thank you for your time, I appreciate you, I love you, I'll always be here when you need me, but I want to go do my own thing, you need to clap, applaud, and say, great job, dude. That's wonderful. Because not everybody's aiming for this spot. There are some people that are aiming for their own platoon. They want their own battalion, if you will, right? Okay. Any questions for me, guys? I want to open it up to questions. Again, you know, I like to be super respectful for your time. It's 47 after, and we try to go 45 to 55 minutes. So any questions for me so far? All right. Any comments?
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah, man.
As far as the TC, how much do you think is the average flat fee you should pay them when they're closing? Is it like $500, $300?
So with TCs, what you're doing is you're looking for a transaction coordination company that's already in place, that understands transactions in your state, right? And they know your paperwork, they already know the method, they already know everything, so that you're easily forming into them versus trying to teach them something. So with a TC, when you're hiring out to a third-party company and you're asking them to help you with your business, most of them charge a flat fee, and you just got to compare who's who and what charges what. So there are some companies that I've seen that charge $299. I've seen some companies that charge $499. I've seen some companies that if you have both sides of the deal, they charge you double. I've seen companies that say if you've got both sides of the deal, it's just the one, you know? So you need to kind of go out there, interview the different companies and see what they do, right? Because what's going to happen is when you go from TC, right? So TC is by contract. And if they don't close, like the deal doesn't close, they don't get paid. They get paid at the closing table, just like the rest of us, which is even better for you if you're just starting in the business and you're limited on how much you can pay out on a staff member, right? If it doesn't close, they don't get paid. But once you start to see you have 5-6 deals closing a month, and that, let's say it's $300 is equivalent to, you know, $3,000 or, you know, $1,500 or $1,600. Well, then maybe that's when you go the admin route, right? And you can pay a, you know, virtual assistant $1,600 to $1,900 a month to be a 40-hour-a-week employee with you. And you can teach them that. And then after this, TCs and admins and everybody else becomes a salaried employee. It's not even a per deal situation anymore.
And really quick, do you know like the name of the third-party companies that you guys have used in the past? Or
You know, I could send you some. They're state specific.
okay.
So you got to be careful with that. Like the people that we've used have been in Virginia or Florida. I know you're in Jersey, so I don't know any TC companies in Jersey, but I bet I can find one pretty quickly for you.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I bet I can find one pretty quickly for you.
Thank you.
All right, Harriet, you have your hand up.
Yes, I have a question regarding what's the best way to hire listing assistant, buyer's agent, or buyer's assistant? Do you advertise? How do you look for them, and what's the best way to find them?
So I've actually had luck with Indeed sometimes. I've been able to hire agents through Indeed, which is like a job posting website, right? And also through relationships and posting on social media. Sometimes I post on social media and I say, I'm looking for 2 agents in Miami, and I get a couple DMs and I interview them. I don't take everybody. I interview and I see if we're a good fit. I want to know where their mindset is, right? If I'm hiring for a buyer's agent and they say they want a door knock for listings, that's not who I'm looking for, right? If I'm looking for a buyer's agent and they say they're not very good at lead generation, well, that's not who I'm looking for. If I, in the conversation, find that they're talking more than they're listening, then I realize they might not be very coachable, right? Also, I'll tell you something that is another epiphany that most team leaders have over time is that you are the value, not them. When you're hiring an agent to work with your team, you are the value. So instead of saying, this is what I can do for you as a team leader to help you in your business, look at the agent and say, why do you think you deserve to be on my team? What do you bring to the table? What's your value to us? Okay. Anybody else got any comments or questions?
Thank you very much. It was really
Absolutely,
good.
Harriet. I hope that answers your question.
I was just going to say one thing when we're hiring agents, whether on the listing or buyer side. In the past, one thing that we did, and it helped when I wasn't good at the hiring process and being able to qualify the right people. We did this provisional period where they got to come in and sit with me and be a fly on the wall for 5 days to watch what I did. And then we gave them the opportunity to do it for 5 days. They had to do it in the room with me, exactly what I was doing. And it helped me say within 10 minutes of watching them, that's the right person right there.
Right.
But it was giving them the opportunity. I didn't have to onboard them, or my assistant didn't have to onboard them, because all they're doing is sitting in the room, calling the people that we want them to, or going on appointments with me. And after those 10-day period, after that 10-day period, it was, yes, we know they're the right person, or no, they're not. And we part ways at that point. But if your hiring skills aren't there, it's a good way to don't go through 6 months of mistakes and then realize, hey, that was the wrong person, and then have to start over again.
100%. There's the old saying, fire fast, hire slow.
Yeah, I did that the wrong way many times.
Everybody does it the wrong way coming in, you know, because you want people and you're excited that they actually want to be on your team, and you're like, yes, let's go, you know, and then you
And
realize,
make excuses that they're the right person because you don't want to be wrong.
right, you make excuses, and a lot of people are afraid to let people go. A lot of people are afraid to make that confrontational phone call. Hey, I just shut off all your systems, and, you know, unfortunately, you're not a great fit for the team, you know? And they just got to be a good fit for the team, guys. And again, that conversation, understanding if they're coachable, understanding if they're right for the position. Do they even fit in with your team? As your team begins to grow and you have more people on the team, have more people interview them, right? So I'm the last person to interview on my team, okay? I'm the last person to talk to an agent or a staff member or anything. There are 2 other people that will speak to them way before me, okay? And so, and before I speak to them, I get feedback from the other 2 people. And sometimes the person doesn't even make it up to talking to me. Sometimes the first 2 people determine they're just not the right fit, you know? And I trust that process. I trust that process because that agent's going to come in and work under the 3 of us, and we're going to all be participating and helping them in their advancement and growth. And we want to make sure that they're receiving of it. All right, guys, it's 11:54. I got time for one more question if anybody has one. If not, all right, guys, super honored to do this with you guys every single Thursday at 11 a.m. We will see you next week at 11 a.m. We will continue this. If you did register on the Eventbrite, you will get an email later on today with a copy of this presentation, as well as our previous presentations and any workbooks that we have published so far. Okay, guys? All right, so you guys take care. Have a great week. And much success to all of you guys. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dave.